Welcome to More Than a Brand podcast, the podcast for scaling founders who have hit the 100K mark and realize what got you here won't get you there. My name is Lindsay Trammell Jones, the People CXO and the CEO of Fierceified Creative and Consulting. This show is dedicated to the art and science of customer retention. It's time to stop chasing the next lead and start stewarding the ones you've already got. You've done the hard part by building the vision. Now let's build the machine. This is More Than a Brand. Let's get into it. I want to start this episode out with a question, and I want you to be honest with yourself. How much time did you spend this week trying to get in front of new people? I mean, posting on social, running ads, creating content, networking, trying to get more eyes on your business. I'll wait. Now I want to ask you another question. How much time did you spend on the people who already say yes to you? If you're like most business owners, the answer is pretty different. And today we're going to talk about why that gap might be costing you more than you think and what to do about it. So here's what I see all the time when working with small business owners. There is almost this gravitational pull towards brand awareness. And I get it. I know we've been told if you build it, they will come. And I know you can't grow what nobody knows about. So you pour your time into social media, your energy into content, and you hustle to get more reach, more followers, more leads. And that's not wrong, okay? Awareness is a part of the entire customer journey. But somewhere along the way, a belief sneaks in. And it happens in such a quiet way that we don't always realize that it happens. But that belief is this idea that growth only happens at the top of the funnel and that the wine and dine is done once someone says yes. That the customer you already have will just take care of themselves. Like they purchase a product, you're going to put them in this funnel and they're going to get the emails and that's how you're going to retain them. But I'm here to tell you they won't. And that is what this episode is about. We're talking about retention and what it actually means and why it's so much more than a funnel and how customer experience is the real engine behind keeping the people who already chose you. So let's start with the math. I'm going to pull these numbers out because I'm a numbers girly. I promise this is not going to be a lecture, but I do want you to sit with this for a second. Acquiring a brand new customer costs significantly more than keeping the one you already have. We're talking up to 5 times more. You're not just spending money, you're spending time, you're spending energy, you're spending emotional bandwidth trying to earn trust from someone who has never experienced what you do. Meanwhile, the customer who already said yes, they've already crossed that threshold, they felt your value, they know your name, they're speaking your name in rooms that you're not even in, and with the right experience, they are ready to say yes again and to bring their people along with them. There's another number that I also love. And this number is the probability of selling to an existing customer is somewhere between 60 and 70%. And for that brand new person that just met you on Instagram, that number decreases down to 5 to 20%. That's a huge drop. So when we're always chasing new, we're literally working harder for a fraction of the return, is what I like to call you're hustling backwards. That doesn't mean you stop pursuing awareness. Don't get me wrong. It just means you stop treating the people you already have like an afterthought and that the pipeline that you're moving them through and the relationship has to be built at the same time. So let's talk about what retention actually is, because I think a lot of people have a surface level understanding of it. And I know it's what's costing you to not retain the clients that you need to be more profitable and more successful in your business. So retention is not dropping someone into an email sequence and blasting them with promotional offers every other week. It's not a loyalty punch card. It's not an automated we miss you tax. Those tactics do exist and they do have their place and they play a role. But what is real retention? You know, the kind that turns a one-time buyer into a loyal person who brings their friends? That type of retention, that's built on something far more human. It's built on the feeling of being known. Y'all remember that show Cheers? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. It wasn't the fanciest place. Some of the waitresses were not the nicest, but they knew the customer's name, so people just kept coming back. So I want you to think about the businesses you personally go back to again and again. And it's probably like a Cheers moment. They're not the cheapest. It's not because they sent you a coupon. You may go back to use the coupon, but if you didn't like the service, you don't care what they give you. But it's because when you walk in, someone remembers your name, or they know what you usually order, or they ask about that thing you mentioned last time. You feel like, real talk, is your business currently a duct tape masterpiece? Like you're hitting your revenue goals, but behind the scenes you are struggling because your customer journey is manual, messy, and dependent on you to function? That's why I created Flowtribe. This isn't a program, it's a 10-week engineering sprint for founders who've hit that 100K revenue and they're ready to stop being the bottleneck and holding things up. We use my proprietary RISE method to rewire your infrastructure. We alternate between brain weeks to learn the strategy and build weeks to actually deploy the systems. We start with a flow MRI to find your invisible revenue leaks in 15 minutes. Listen. Stop patching processes and start engineering a flow. Apply for the next Flowtribe cohort at flowtribe.co. That's flowtribe.co. Let's build your machine. Now back to the episode. More than a transaction when you're working with small businesses that take that extra mile. You feel like you belong there. And that's what we're building when we talk about retention for small businesses. That's why customer experience is the framework that we use, because experience is every single touch point a customer has with your business, and it will shape the way that your retention looks. Let's walk through this customer journey very briefly, because every single touch point, every stop along the journey is either going to build some trust or is going to erode the relationship. That first touch point is awareness. How does someone first encounter your brand? Is the experience warm? Is it clear? Does it feel like you? And they do go through a point of consideration where they're considering making that purchase. But there's that moment when they say yes. And this is the big one, because so many businesses treat the purchase as the finish. It's not. How you welcome someone, how you set expectations, how you onboard them, this shapes everything that comes after. Then you've got the service or the experience itself that you promised to deliver on, that they purchase. Are you delivering on that promise? The small details, being responsive, being personal, following through, those are the things that compound into a feeling of being genuinely cared for. Your customers do not want to feel like just an invoice or another person in queue. And after the sale, after the services have been delivered, this is where most businesses go completely silent, or you throw them in a funnel and you just let Flowdesk do its thing. What happens is small businesses, because we're too focused on bringing awareness and getting new eyes on, is they get the money and they disappear. But the businesses that check in, that celebrate a milestone, that simply say thank you, those are the ones people remember. Those are the ones people return to. And then finally, you get the referral moment. They're like, hey, I'm going to tell my friends about it. A customer who feels known and valued doesn't just come back, they recruit. Word of mouth from a retained loyal customer is the most trusted and the most cost-effective marketing you'll ever access. Full stop, point blank, period. In return, when referrals come in, it is decreasing your need to have to always go out and chase, because people are being brought to you. Here's what I really want you to hear, because this might be the most important part of this whole conversation. You don't need a massive CRM. You don't need a full-time customer success team. You don't need a huge budget. What you need is intention. Know a little bit about your customers. Remember what they told you last time. Acknowledge a win they shared with you. Send a message on a milestone that has absolutely nothing to do with selling them something. Surprise them with a small gesture that says, hey, we're thinking about you. When customers feel like they matter, not just as revenue, but as actual people, they become something so much more valuable than repeat buyers. They become a part of community, and communities are resilient. Communities refer friends. Communities are really, really hard to poach with the lower price. I've taken up enough of your time, but I want to leave you with these last and final thoughts. Brand awareness will always matter. So you keep showing up in feeds and searches and conversations and keep pursuing new eyes. You're always going to have some new brand awareness. But awareness without retention is a lost cause, it's hustling backwards, it's a leaky bucket. You're going to pour and pour, and you're going to wonder why it never quite feels full. You're going to wonder why am I still doing all this hustling, but I'm not reaching my goals? It's because you are neglecting those that already said yes. So plug the leak, invest in the relationship with the people who already chose you. Build an experience so consistent and so human that leaving never crosses their mind. And telling their friends about you feels completely natural. That's the long game. That's what customer experience done with intention actually creates. And that is exactly what we do here at Fierceified Creative Consulting. Thank you so much for spending time with me. If this one hit home, share it with a business owner who needs to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Until next time, remember, you are more than a brand, and so are the people who choose you. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Remember, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date. Find us on social media at fierceified.agency on Instagram, or find us on Facebook at Fierceified Creative and Consultant.